The Dodgers are ruining baseball. The Dodgers are cheating. Are they really? Aren't the Dodgers just doing what every baseball team should be doing? Let's take a look and go into the ballpark in the dark. Now, for starters, the Dodgers don't begin with a pot of money that is any more than every other baseball team gets. There is something called revenue sharing, and all of the baseball teams share revenue generated each season, and they share it equally. And each baseball team can spend that money as they choose. The Dodgers choose to spend it on players, and some of the other teams also choose to do it that way. And it's not just the Los Angeles Dodgers, but it's the New York Yankees, the New York Mets, the San Diego Padres, the San Francisco Giants. There are just a handful of teams that choose to spend their money on the product on the field. Now, that, as you can tell, has mixed results because you have the New York Mets, for example, who actually have a bigger payroll than the Los Angeles Dodgers. And the New York Mets are in last place. So whatever they do with their money on the field isn't quite as effective as what the Dodgers are doing or what the New York Yankees are doing or even the San Diego Padres. But the model that these teams use to spend their money also reflects on the management team that is spending the money, choosing these players to coexist together for a 162-game season that winds up being a successful season. It doesn't always work out that way at all. And the New York Mets are a perfect example of that. We also have small market team models. Like you have a team like the Milwaukee Brewers, for example, who do not have a large payroll, but they have a very successful front office that recruits players, that signs the exact players that works in their system. And that is a successful model. And you have others that do not have these giant payrolls that the Dodgers choose to have or that the Mets choose to have. But these teams are also quite successful. As a matter of fact, last season, the Los Angeles Dodgers did wind up winning the World Series, but they did not have home field advantage in the playoffs at all. They actually played Game 7 of the World Series, an epic World Series. They played that Game 7 in Toronto because they did not have home field advantage. They didn't have home field advantage in the National League Championship Series because the Milwaukee Brewers had home field advantage in the National League. So it doesn't all quite work out exactly like everybody seems to believe it works out. The only thing that happens in this regard is the Los Angeles Dodgers play the game and they play the game well. And it is not a problem of theirs or of baseball that there are teams like the Mets or like the San Francisco Giants that don't spend their money wisely and don't manage their teams accordingly. It's really management's fault. That's not the fault of the Dodgers. Now, moving forward, we're going to be facing, after this season is over, the current collective bargaining agreement expires in December of this year. And we do have a looming labor dispute in Major League Baseball. It's unfortunate because baseball just seems to have taken off again over the last few years with all of the rule changes they've made, with the pitch clock, the bigger bases, the illegal shifting with players out in the outfield and in the infield. So it's made the game much more smoother. It's much quicker. I actually think it's much more exciting with the pitch clock. And baseball has hit a home run with a lot of these rule changes. And it's unfortunate that they have this looming labor dispute. One of the core issues of this labor dispute is the salary cap, where you have the owners, the 30-team owners, who are wanting a salary cap. And as you can imagine, the Players Association does not want a salary cap. They want to be able to share revenue that the owners are all sharing. So those are the two core issues with this labor dispute, the salary cap on the owner side and the revenue sharing on the player side. Now, you can take sides on both of those issues as you will. There are people that say the players don't take the risk that the owners take when they sign, like the New York Mets, for example, when they sign a lot of these players and it doesn't quite turn out the way they expected. Or the San Francisco Giants that now are trying to get fans to go back into that stadium because the San Francisco fans will not go see a bad product on the field. In terms of the risk-taking, the players, no matter what happens with the Mets, the Giants, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Padres, everybody's going to get paid. Their contracts are solid. Nobody gets money taken away because they didn't steal 20 bases or they didn't hit 50 home runs. But the owners do lose revenue when these players do not perform on the field. So the question is, how do you balance out a model like the players want, where they do share the revenue with the owners, but their performance affects ultimate revenue that the teams generate at the gates during a long baseball season, and where you have over 15 million spectators going to stadiums every year. So how do you balance out the players sharing revenue with the owners based on factors where their performance does come into play? Major League Baseball has shown a willingness to evolve, like a lot of the other leagues, to evolve their sport into today's mechanisms of what the fans want. But unfortunately, for some of these ideas, they come up, it gets into the wrong hands and the wrong people are making the wrong decisions. But with Major League Baseball, it actually has paid off for them. And I do hope they're able to resolve a lot of their labor disputes before December, because it would be a shame for baseball to have to lose any ground that they've gained in terms of being at the forefront of American sports culture. Baseball's big global brands like the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the rule changes with the pitch clock, the ABS challenge system, the shift bans have all contributed to attracting more fans to the game. So it's going to be a challenge for Major League Baseball, for the owners and the Players Association, to come together before December and come up with an agreement. And I do hope that they figure it out, because it would be a shame to not see the Los Angeles Dodgers win a fourth World Series in a row. But like I said, it's not the Dodgers. It just seems like it's not fair, but life isn't fair. And you just have to kind of go with it. And if you can't play the game, then get off the field, because it's an even field. And it just seems like it's not, but it is. So that's my four-bagger. That's my trip around the bases. That's my take into the ballpark in the dark.